I'm Jay Cashmere, live outside the Palm Beach County Courthouse, covering day 3 of testimony in the DUI manslaughter trial of polo mogul John Goodman. We want to welcome in News Channel 5 legal analyst Michelle Suskauer. A big day today. We saw a lot of evidence presented. We have 911 tapes and the two vehicles, the Bentley and the Hyundai, that were driven. The 911 tapes stood out to you. Why were they so compelling?
Because we actually heard from the people that saw the accident, not actually happening, but directly afterwards. And we could hear really their horror, how scared they were, how dark it was about the debris. But for me, very compelling was actually hearing John Goodman's own voice, because we may not hear him again during this trial if he chooses not to testify.
And you were sitting in the courtroom while these tapes are being displayed. The jurors are listening to him. You were studying the jurors' reactions. What was that like? You had an interesting connotation on that.
Sure, absolutely. You know, it was interesting because not only were the jurors listening, but they were actually following along with transcripts of all of the callers, including John Goodman's. And after they were reading them and listening, I was watching them because I wanted to see, are they going to look over at anyone? Are they going to look at the victim's family if they know who they are? Are they going to look at the defendant? They didn't. They didn't look at John Goodman. All they did was look directly at Troy Snellgrove, who was still on the stand while this was being played.
Let's look ahead real quickly to tomorrow. What will we see from the prosecution tomorrow?
Tomorrow, hopefully the state's really going to wrap up, although Troy Snellgrove, who's the main traffic homicide investigator, can't come back tomorrow, so he's going to be back on Monday. But they're going to conclude with some more powerful evidence. You're going to hear from their toxicologist, who's going to talk about the blood work. This is important to be able to prove their element that John Goodman was under the influence, the nurse who drew his blood, and some further police officers and maybe an engineer.
A lot more physical evidence to come. Michelle Suskauer, thank you very much. Day 3 wrapped up. Day 4 continuing tomorrow in the DUI manslaughter trial of John Goodman. Michael, we'll send it back to you in the studio.